if I was in the marketing department and I was a young marketing, professional joining the marketing world into a company. It might be a brand, it might be a research company, in an advertising agency. You've been a planner yourself. Okay, so what advice would you give them from a semiotics? Because I think this is something, this is an art there which I don't see too many agencies or too many companies practicing, right? So therefore, if you were to look back and then say, hey, here is something interesting, try to do it like what you said. Do this for a year. If once in a year, try to do a semiotic study. Okay, so if I were in a marketing department, how do I build the skill, and what would you urge them to do, so that this merging of culture, society, behavior is very important for a brand, right? So therefore, so how do you suggest they adopt this?
Yeah, sure. So I think if a new young person is joining our marketing department, I think this advice might be in general to any person joining a job, would be that usually organizations have a very standardized or a set way of doing things, and when you're joining a company, you generally tend to kind of get tuned to those methods and those structures, right? But I think if you're looking to make an impact, then I think don't lose or let go of the creativity or those path breaking ideas that you might have. So, like for example, when I was working, also I always tried to go out of the template, like to do things differently, and it always worked. Like I was in research, so there was one presentation where we had to generally the data was presented as saying the consumer said this, the consumer says this. So I actually created the entire presentation in first person.
Hmm.
So I am the consumer, I am speaking, so
Hmm.
it's
Very
like
interesting.
just some subtle things, but it really created that. In fact, there was one study which was on the youth culture. So I was technically part of that target group. So I presented the entire thing in first person. So that came out very impactfully. So I think it's just that as a young professional, especially in marketing, I'm saying, because marketing itself as a field is so dynamic, and
Hmm.
like digital marketing and all these things, so youngsters are technically better at it than the older people in the space anyway. Like they understand Instagram much better, they understand social media much better. So the the intuition that they have culturally, which they are a part of, I think they should draw from that.
Hmm.
And also, in case if you're working in a category which is targeting some other demographic, like which you don't belong to, then having that empathy towards the consumer will be important, because otherwise, like what I have seen, especially like students who have gone through engineering and the type of education we have gone through, we tend to look objectify things,
Hmm.
numbers and things. So we stop looking at customers as humans,
Hmm.
and these are the softer aspects of it, right? So as in they might get exposed to it in an MBA program, but still, like most of the students still continue to have that more like a quantitative
Correct, correct,
mindset.
correct.
So I think people who are able to have both, like a they should understand numbers. Like there is the category of people who scared of numbers, like they
Hmm.
just, that's that they are bad at quant, that's why they are doing qualitative. So
Correct.
like don't be in that category. uh, like being good in quantitative is, I think now kind of like a hygiene thing. Like you should understand the metrics, but also if you carry that uh, cultural muscle, right, to understand culture, look through things, that will be helpful. And I think that is there naturally as humans, but we tend to subdue it when we are in a formal company kind of a space.
Great,
That
great, brilliant, brilliant.